Hello, and thank you for having a listen to this week's episode of Secure Insights with NDK Cyber. Many of you may know NDK Cyber is first and foremost a cybersecurity recruitment organisation. We specialise in cyber talent globally, whether that's a niche skill set, a tricky location, if you're scaling rapidly, we can help with that. Now, we started the Secure Insights podcast as a way to really shine a light on important areas in the industry, tackle hot subjects, give people a platform and a space where they can share their story, share the cool stuff they're doing at the moment. So, very excited this week to be joined by Mike Walters. Mike is the former founder of Netrix that you may know, and now the founder of an organization called Action One. Action One specializes in the whole world of patching, and I know what you're thinking. Patching, James, isn't that sort of 10 years ago now? We've moved on. We've got all this other sexy stuff going on, but Mike's found a way to really alleviate some of the pain that you might face in that patching space. I'll let Mike really drill into that, but we cover everything here from Mike's background, the state of patching at the moment, where his organization comes in and makes things a little different, and then ultimately moving on to what he's excited about. And Mike shares some really good advice on being a founder, being in those CEO shoes, especially when you're just starting out, what to focus on first. So very excited to share this episode with you, open to feedback, and hope you enjoy as always. All right, we are live. Well, Mike, thank you for jumping on.
Yeah, glad to be here, James. Thanks for hosting me today.
Not at all, not at all. Now, Mike, I would have done an introduction there, but it won't have done it justice. So, do you want to give us like a quick overview of where you're at, what got you to where you are, who you are, that sort of thing?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've spent the past 25 years deep in cybersecurity, starting back at Quest Software, working on their SIEM products before co-founding my first company, Netrix, which Alex, my business partner, and I bootstrapped into a global cybersecurity company now valued in the billions. It was a great journey. It was a master class in execution and focus. It was unbelievable that we never thought we would take it to that level. And after that journey, we well, both not Alex and I we love building new companies, and yeah, we just enjoy this the thrill of startup. And we saw a gap in the endpoint management space. One of the things that we noted is the patch management category. It had a very high demand because everybody needs to patch, but shockingly low quality supply. And that was our call to action, pun intended, because this is how we named our company, Action One. This is how it was born.
Nice. Okay, cool. And so, yeah, two times founder then, first business, Netrix, know it well, and I've seen a lot of it over the years, and then you can grow, and now this company with Action One then. So, if we take that patch management space, in your view, what's the state of patch management right now then?
Uh, So it's a decades old problem. Right? So we've been patching systems probably well since the since the first system was created. But at this time, many organizations are still stuck using legacy technologies. There's products like Microsoft SCCM, which was a great product, but then it was designed in the pre-COVID world. And there's a bunch of others. There's many. There's if you look, there's probably a hundred of technologies that exist, but a lot of them weren't designed for the modern remote first enterprise, and they were on-prem, had different issues, and just purely outdated. And a few years ago, there was a lot of skepticism about cloud native patching specifically, just cloud native cybersecurity solutions in general. I would say, but that's changed, I think, and enterprises now understand that cloud native cybersecurity products is not just viable, they're essential. It's an approach that works. And these days, uh, just going back to the patching situation, I think it's still a big problem. There's so many technologies that simply don't work well, and they do not solve it. They don't solve the issue.
Why is that then? I mean, like you say, yeah, patching, it's not a new thing. It's not a new problem we've got. So where does that, is it just that there's just not that innovative technology out there to aid with the patching cycle, or is it the lack of cloud native stuff? What's holding people up on this?
Uh yeah, why is it still such a challenge? I would say it's two things. It's fear and friction. Let me call it this way.
Okay.
So the fear, first, there's real fear because patches do break systems. You can get fired for deploying a broken patch if that causes a substantial outage. And then the friction component, the this organizational friction, security teams want vulnerabilities patched as soon as possible. IT operations wants stability, and that creates a tension and also a communication gap to some extent. And so the old model of emailing spreadsheets that the IT security team scanned using Tenable or Rapid7 or other vulnerability scanning products, and then they email this to IT operations, and they hope that they patch those systems and address. So that's a very old school approach, and this is still what a lot of companies use these days. And this is what's funny enough. It's or not funny actually. The infamous Equifax breach, which happened, what, I think it's 2017. But the mortem analysis of that was exactly this. So the IT security team knew about that vulnerability in Apache, and they emailed a request to their IT operations team to patch it, but that request just fell through the cracks, and millions, I think hundreds of millions of records got stolen as a result of that. Just the
Wow.
simple lack of that patch.
So it's not even just like a technical problem here. It's like a people process, almost soft skill problem in a way. If it's things are getting lost and then falling through the cracks.
Yeah, I think the larger the enterprise, the more bureaucracy. In smaller companies, it's probably less of that of an issue because it's if it's one team that does both, there's less probability of the stuff like this happening. But they are also very resource strapped, so they can't spend that much time patching. So it's another challenge, right? So they're underfunded, and they have to do with whatever they can, but it's not always possible.
The thought that comes to mind is like zero-day vulnerabilities. We're more aware increasingly of in today's day and age and ransomware and everything else. Has that, I guess, put pressure on the patching cycle or the patching world?
Well, it clearly it made the patching need a lot more urgent, especially we're talking about things like ransomware in 0 days. It's a lot cheaper to patch than to pay cyber criminals. That's very obvious. And when you need when there's a 0 day vulnerability or some active exploitation happening, and when you no longer have weeks or days. Sometimes you don't even have an hour to respond because you could be the next in line to be attacked, or you might already be under attack. And so you need to patch fast and at scale. You can't patch everything, but those critical vulnerabilities under exploitation, you only have minutes sometimes. And then technologies like peer-to-peer patch distribution. So if you have a super large enterprise with say 20,000 endpoints in one location, and you need to deploy a 15 gigabyte update to address a 0 day threat, normally if you try to push this much into your system, it's just could take weeks. But if you're smart and you utilize technologies like peer-to-peer update distribution, you can trim it down to under an hour, because what happens is you push it to the first few endpoints, and then they start exchanging those updates, and within an hour or less, every system is patched. So the speed of response is critical these days, and especially there's not just the 0 days. There's also this threat of AI powered attacks, right? So that gave a lot of unfair advantage to threat actors. So you have to be extra vigilant, and speed of response is critical.
So I'm picking up, the themes of speed of response is critical, not breaking the current systems, not super complex. And I'm no detective here, but I'm guessing Action One has a solution that plays into this.
Uh, so there's yeah, there's big technical complexity on so there's different operating systems, hundreds of third-party application patches, distributed locations, and what where Action One comes into play is so we are an autonomous cloud native endpoint management platform. We scale really well. You can deploy Action One in minutes. And one of the great things about starting with Action One is it is free for your first 200 endpoints with absolutely zero feature limits. So when you sign up, you create an Action One account, you can start patching. If you're a small if you're a small shop under 200, you just never pay at all. You just use it
Wow.
for a fully functional platform with without paying a dime. If you're larger than that, you can still use the first 200. And if let's say if you want to start with a small, you have a small branch office, you want, oh yeah, I want to patch that, see how that goes. You can do this. You can do this without. When you create an Action One account, you don't even have to talk to a salesperson. So it's not a sales pitch. It's not a disguised free trial. How a lot of vendors do. It's like, oh yeah, we have a free tier, but you need to start using that. It's the functionality is crippled, and you can't really use it to for any substantial use cases that are critical to you. But with Action One, no, it's you sign up, you start patching, it's simple. And I think what is really great, I think that like when we talk about patching in general, this is the last thing that people want to do is patch, but they have to, right? So when you see those job postings for IT jobs, a lot of them, yeah, it's patching. It's a junior level entry position. All you do is patch. It's not fun. It's like doing cleanup. With Action One, you can cut down the time you need to spend on patching to its absolute minimum. And I think this is one of the biggest compelling points about Action One.
Yeah. I mean, I'm aging myself a little bit here, but we did some recruitment in the SCCM space. Crikey, I want to say like 9, 10 years ago. And even then, I remember sort of the theme of the market was that it's not very simple, it's long, it takes expertise to do it. And like you say, you've got to get it right, otherwise it can go really wrong. So there was almost like a whole ecosystem of people in that space. Whereas I
Yeah,
guess we can sort of say with this that it's less cost to a company, it's quicker, there's advantages to doing it this way.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I
You're
that
you're right.
200 people as well is insane. So I could literally be a company of 190 people and never
Yeah,
pay
and
for,
use it for free.
wow,
And we
that's
want them to, because what we realized that at some point is we always wanted to focus on the medium to large enterprise, and this is how we design our business model. And then was that, you know what? So with some companies, they who do the same, they just say, oh, we don't even work with the small guys. Like there's no interest. But what we thought, well, why can't we just give it away? For the common good, because the unpatched vulnerability exploitation remains the one of the top reasons why ransomware attacks are successful. Why that's why we see all those large payouts, and the more of those happen, we essentially every time a cyber criminal gets paid, they become richer, they gain more capability. So the more we could do as a cybersecurity community and at large is to limit the spread, limit their ability to attack, and by giving it away to the smaller organizations who don't have budgets to do it, I think it is a great thing. And they also, of course, they help us spread the word. We have a lot of advocates among those that every time you go on Reddit and ask about patching in those Reddit communities about for IT people, like, oh, patching action one. There's no question. There's always like, 50 people who chime in and say, yeah, I use action one. It's amazing. It's the best thing ever. And it's free for the first 200 endpoints.
Yeah, what a great marketing tool to have people sort of generate a conversation around it, and then that bleeds into, I guess, what we're talking about here of if you are a medium or larger enterprise, then you're having the conversation around the peer-to-peer piece, the speed, the cloud native piece as well. Are there any other
It's a win-win.
companies that,
It's a
yeah,
win-win for everyone. I think there's small companies get it for free. They can just boost their cybersecurity posture. Yeah, and it is a great marketing tool. It's word of mouth. And also, people change jobs. Someone who's with a small company today may join a much larger company with join their IT team and then bring Action One with them because they love the product.
yeah, love that. Are there any other like organizations in this space doing kind of what you're doing, or is it you're sort of a lone wolf, so to speak?
Oh,
You don't have to name them, of
there's
course.
there's almost like if you just go on Google or I should I say Chat GPT because a lot of people
Uh,
stop using Google these days and ask about, yeah, you probably get dozens of those with the different capabilities. But what we realized is so many of them claim that they do patching, but it's more of I should say, checkbox approach. Yeah, you have to do patching, and it is a clear need. When we started back with Action One, at first we set out to build a general endpoint management platform, with all different capabilities. But we realized it was a lot to be competitive, to deliver on value. You have to build a lot of different functions. But as I spoke to our first 100 customers, I heard the same thing over and over: patching, patching, patching. Everyone needed it, and existing solutions didn't deliver. Some of them only patched operating systems, but not third-party applications. They were high maintenance. They needed babysitting. They host a host of issues, and also since it's such an old category, it is an underfunded space. So nobody gets funded for a new fancy new patch management startup. It's just unsexy, and we saw this as a golden opportunity because we had a lot of success with our prior company. It was a big exit, took home a lot of money, and we just committed $20 million to double down on patching. We said, all right, let's focus just on this category. Let's fund it super well, bring the best people on board and build it. And today, if you look at some of the software review sites like G2, we hold the number one spot as an easiest to use solution, not just in patching, but also in endpoint management, in RMM, and a few other categories, because we really put a lot of thought into it. And our marketing pitch is funny. Uh, we just say it's patching that just works, and this is what people need. Because like I said, nobody likes doing patching. If there's something that works, take care of that for them. Like, why not? It's what people want.
it gets it off the plate, yeah, for sure. And so but it's a relatively young organization. It's not like you know, what's next? What's the sort of the okay, cool, we've got to the top of the G2 board here. We're solid in this market. We've got a solid reputation. Is the goal to then build on that, or like you say, is it we've got a product that just works? Don't break if it's not fix it.
Well,
Don't fix it if
uh,
it's not broken. Sorry.
it's well, to me and Alex, this is so we're serial entrepreneurs. The first company, Netrix, was more like an experiment. Can we really do this? And because we both didn't believe it, but this time we with all this experience we've had, we're on the path of building a multi-billion-dollar company. And what excites me most is the people. Like we have to we're actively expanding. So we just it is a hyper-growing company. I've never seen anything like that before. Not any other companies I've worked with before experienced this level of hyper growth. And it's the kind of momentum that really gets me excited, and I think it's great, and also we're not looking for a quick exit. We're not like, okay, let's build something, grow it to a 200 million ARR and then sell it to private equity. We're not in that position anymore. We're really building for the future, and we build a solid foundation that will allow us to expand into some adjacencies at some point, but at the same time we have to we have to continue to stay focused and on this one category. We need to create a category killer first before thinking about anything else.
Yeah, okay, okay, cool. And going forward then, what challenges do you see within this space?
uh Well, it is a competitive space, right? So there's even though a lot of those products they're not as good, but they of course they catch up, they realize what used to be the status quo was, okay, yeah, you just gotta offer some level of patching, it's cool. But then with new entrants that are really strong, like Action One, they look at us and I do see them like eventually, oh yeah, well, it's a competitive threat. We need to catch up. Some of the features that we pioneered, because they're trying to catch up. But I think just like I think it was Bill Gates's quote. He said, "Okay, you have to win, you need to stay 10% ahead of your competition." Uh, and 10% is that what yeah, if you to me, I think it should be 10%. It should be more. It should be 100% ahead. But if you are the best product, uh, you always win. There's also execution, there's marketing and sales execution, but without the absolute best product, you can never win. And no matter how strong your marketing and sales are, if your product sucks, that you lose. But that's not our case. We believe that we have this absolutely best product available in this space.
Yeah, nice. And just thinking out loud, I mean, I speak to a lot of other, founders and CEOs and such that are coming out with new and innovative technology and improvements on technology that was here 10, 15 years ago. When you're coming up against, potential business, potential customers, are you sort of faced with that, what, we're sort of patching, we've been doing it one way for so many years, we're good?
Uh, when there's yeah that if you treat I think one of the biggest my biggest lessons with working with customers you have to treat your customers like gold, right? So if you don't approach if you like I tell my colleagues, you have to be uh imagine this was the only customer of ours, right? So they're dealing with a situation. We cannot afford to lose a single customer, right? You absolutely have to make them happy. You have to find solutions. You have to, even if you can't solve it immediately, you have to devise a plan to solve it, give them this roadmap and set a timeline. So because you can't just promise, oh yeah, we'll get it fixed next year. No, we have to provide them with reasonable estimates, and we have to keep them happy. We have to make it work. And as long as you continue doing this, you'll win. And don't lose that. And this is my one of my advice that one of the advice I give to other fellow startup founders is yeah, don't always put your customer first. And the other thing is of course stay focused. Um, just pick a category because you can't be excellent in many different things. You can only win in one particular category. This is the only way.
Interesting. Okay, cool. And I was going to ask you about your sort of, being in that two times founder position, running these companies, clearly doing very, very well. it's not an accident. Outside of the customer care piece, the customer focus energy, any other advice you give to maybe someone who's thinking about starting an organization, thinking about going on, I think I've got a product fit here. I think I've got a solution to the market.
Product fit, yeah, that's I think this goes without saying because I think it's not the number one reason why most startups fail is there's no product market fit. But this is more of I think a lot of that is luck, pure luck. You have to experiment. You have to go through multiple options categories. Like this one, what can possibly gain the most traction? And that this is it just sometimes it's luck, sometimes it's just you just go relentlessly go through and talk to customers and eventually you find it. But I think what is more obvious and more just discipline wise is your cash flow. I think this is I think the second biggest thing that kills most startups is if you don't watch your cash flow burn too fast through it, you fail. You should have to close. And unfortunately, even if you have the best product market fit, the best people, if there's no cash, that's it. Everybody goes home.
What are some of the ways to ensure your cash flow is healthy?
Uh, don't burn it. Do not over invest. Don't. Yeah, I know it's super obvious.
Don't go
But I
crazy
think
with it,
some
yeah?
some people go, oh, let's over hire, let's bring more people than we need, and then we'll figure out. Well, let's assume we'll grow 500% next year, so then we can bring. That's I think what we've always done. We've starting with the prior company Netflix, we had this spreadsheet with showing all the expenses, how much we spent per month, and we had this survival index. It was how many months we can survive if all of our revenue stops flowing, which could never happen. Like you can never just fully shut down, possibly, but sometimes it happens too. Like there's an outage, and you can't bring new customers. There's different things happening. So in case of Netflix, we always maintain this to be at 5 to 6 months.
Okay.
Just 6 months of no revenue. The company is still alive. Only after 6 months, yeah, we may need to start terminating some people to survive. But and I think this is and we continued with this approach. We continued with this discipline throughout the years, and this is what the kind of financial discipline we apply here at Action One.
Got you. I've got to admit, I expected the the run the runway between sort of being okay and closing down to be sort of 12, 18 months or so, but as short as 5 or 6 months, I was a bit like, oh,
But
okay.
you would, I mean, in our in this company, the situation is very different because we have this luxury of being well funded and profitable because we had that have this 20 million commitment, but we're already profitable. We are actually generating cash. We generate more than we spend, so we're in a really good position. So our runway, speaking about the runway, it's practically endless at this stage of this company. So we just need to continue to invest as much as possible into developing the best product, and then proportionally expanding our sales and marketing effort to support this growth.
And on that expansion piece, I wanted to ask you, having done this twice now, those early hires, is there an area you'd say, is it like, for example, do you need to get a rock solid sales team in, or is it the product, the R&D? From your experience, those early hires, what would you sort of suggest?
I think definitely get if we're a technology company, get the top-notch developers. You don't need too many. You can start with a small team of maybe 5 people. You
Oh
don't
wow.
need hundreds, right? But you really need high quality, top-notch talent. And then don't hire when you start. I wouldn't hire any salespeople initially because it's the job of the founder to become the first salesperson. You have to figure out what sells, what elevator pitch works best. Because if you bring an outsider who doesn't know the product, you lose that feedback loop because you stop hearing directly. from your first customers. So it's important to be the first salesperson for not well, there's a certain threshold where you realize, all right, well, it's getting a lot of traction. Yeah, it is time to start building a sales team. But until that, make your first, I would say make your first 20 or 50 deals, close them yourself before you bring your first salesperson on your payroll.
Yeah, good point, actually. I guess within that, then you're assessing the whole market fit. And like you said, with the first 100 customers with Action One, you got to feel of, patching is probably the aha moment. Let's focus there and then build out.
Yeah. All
Cool.
right.
Thank you so much for running through that. I appreciate me picking your brains there and taking the time. It's been really useful. I think there's been a lot of information in there. I know we've darted around a little bit in that 30 minutes or so, but it's flown by, and in my book, that's a good sign. So, Mike, appreciate your time.
Absolutely. Thank you, James. Really enjoyed the time.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Take care.